your hair color?
Can I see your phone? Okay. I have a camera right here to take pictures if you want to show yourself in these pictures.
And what is your hair color?
Again, you are able to talk to any one of us or show yourself in any type of way. All of us are welcoming you. We do not want to harm you or disturb you in a way that you do not want us to. We are here just to talk. I saw something up here earlier. Was that you? If it was, you can show yourself in any type of way, an orb or anything that could suggest it may have been you. Again, we are only here to talk to you. We do not want to harm you in any way. If you want to show yourself, I have this camera right here. You can take energy out of the lamps if you need energy to show yourself.
Your parents' names, heard a little bit about your history.
Again, we have many people who are gladly welcoming to talk to you. If you want to talk to them, I'm going to go back over to the cemetery if you want to come join me over there if you are here.
Your parents' names, Skylar? I see that name. Can you give me your other parents' name as well?
going over to the cemetery if you want to meet me over there. I will gladly talk to you. If there are any spirits here who want to talk to us or show themselves in any type of way, I welcome you to show yourself. Okay, I'm going back over to the graveyard. If you want to meet me back over there. If that was you making the noises in bushes, please give any sign. Again, you can talk to us, you can show yourself. We have many people who are here and can talk to you. Okay. I will be going back to the whatever that place is over there. Let's call it the Gunpowder House. Oop, looks like the whole group is already over there.
One of them passed out the minute we entered the space. So these are the weird, uncanny things that I see all the time. Probably 4 or 5 times a year, I have somebody that literally passes out. Psychics and mediums normally don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. Like, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And again, they don't normally reveal themselves until the EMT's on the way. So it's one of those pieces. I don't ask for it up front, but I probably should. But first time somebody passed out on me, I was in CPR class the next day. I'm like, this is a new business for me. I don't need that as a liability. So again, I am CPR trained. I just never had to use it. I normally have a nurse for somebody in the group because let's face it, nurses are a dime a dozen these days.
Does this start a new video at 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I spliced them all together so you only have one video.
Okay.
So I do the same thing with the thermal. So he's done some starts and stops too. So you guys get 2 videos, 1 of each camera.
Okay.
All right, so with yours, Holly, this is where it gets fun. The only time I've ever gotten a red reading on command, right here. And Bonnie, what is your hair color? The only way for her to show us through there is to touch the antenna. You will probably not see any numbers unless you get close to those bushes, 2 electrical poles in the corners. Don't get excited. It's a matter of the colors at this point.
Okay.
But again, if you guys want to explore over by the cemetery, you can. You can want to go to the front of the powder magazine, you can. We're going to basically know what's going on with the devices in the next 5 to 8 minutes if we have legitimate things actually happening tonight. Again, hit or miss location, it's just a super fun story. So I'm going to go hang out over there by that wall because you guys know what you're doing by now. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
I have a whole bunch of words.
Oh, what do you got going on? Let us know.
We've got arm, warm, Lucas, past, live, or live, he, peaceful, believe him, mainly, and scruple.
The scruple, we're still near Philadelphia Alley.
Okay.
So there's your scruple.
Okay.
Lucas. Charles Pinckney, Eliza Lucas's husband, is across the street. We probably have another clue in the mix, probably on Lisa's recording.
Okay.
Because at times, we've been getting things relative to both wives. Eliza Lamb is buried over there, but remember, Lucas is buried in Philly.
Yes.
So again, it's almost like he's letting us know. We did get the number 70 here last night. She died at the age of 70.
Yes.
You know, we get weird things.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that Lucas showed up here, it's the husband's across the street.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for the two of you to go over there and kind of see what's going on between hearing and watching. So kind of see what's happening. Yeah,
Turn
definitely.
mine on.
Absolutely. Get that thing up and running.
Good thinkers. I gotta remember back.
I know. Again, there's a lot that goes on with this tour. That's why I like to record everything. So if there's ever questions, you guys can always double back.
Okay.
Are you guys hearing anything before?
Is there a Harry?
Oh, we had Henry.
We got Henry. Yeah, I had Henry.
I don't know who Harry is, but I'm definitely going to write that one down.
Okay.
How loud and clear was that?
To me, it was loud and clear. He didn't hear it.
Okay. Henry Lawrence Pinckney is buried 1 block that way. He was a great nephew of Eliza and Charles.
Okay.
So he started a newspaper called The Mercury. He was also like a statesman and worked for the 26th and nullifying, whatever this, that, and the other. Like he's done a million things, but he likes to sneak his way in here.
Okay.
And it's only because, like, you had it on our way up this way. So I was like, oh, damn it, Henry.
I know, he won't wait.
Because that's usually the last stop. If something happens at another space, like we go up and check out that cemetery, we get a little bit of footage, and I talk about Henry a little bit just to see if anything else is going to pop through, because he does like to sneak his way in.
Okay.
So, but Harry, I have no idea. You got me on that one. What's weird is we normally hear, I won't tell you what we hear. So, just because I don't want to put any more like
Right,
risk to it.
right. What did you tell me to ask?
So the name of Anne Bonny's parents.
And the name of the ship.
Right. Anything else you want to ask is fair game. Ask whatever you want to.
All right.
You guys know what you're doing right now. I'm Harry.
All right.
I'm coming with you guys.
It might be because everything's going on.
I'm coming over to the cemetery.
You going over to the cemetery too?
Yeah. Because earlier, out of the corner of my eye, I felt like I saw something. Like, it wasn't like a person, but it was like a mist.
Okay, come on. All right. We're looking to see who is coming through and trying to communicate with us. We have the word Lucas, so I assume maybe Charles. Is it you, or perhaps Eliza? Can you share some of the Pinckney history with us now? You were a little reticent over at the site of the mansion, but we'd like to hear any information you can give us. Necessary. Sure. If you have something that you'd like to share, give us some information about the mansion or about the family. Remember, we were asking about your beautiful home. What happened to your beautiful home? We're looking for just some information so we can understand more about your family, more about the history here in Charleston. So can you tell us? I see championship, but I don't know what that means. Was there someone that was a champion in some? Can you tell me what the championship is? How were you competing so that there was a championship? And then if you could tell us anything about your home. Charter? I don't know. I'm still not understanding what that means as far as a championship. But Nick may be able to help us understand that. I don't know all the history here. So So can you tell us what happened to your home? Can you give me some clue what happened to your home?
If anybody is here who wants to speak up, we have 2 people over there who are gladly welcoming you to come over there and talk to them. That is Janice and Ken. And then we have Holly over in there. She has the REM pod. And then I'm here if you want to show yourself or give any signal that you're here and want to communicate with us. We are not here to disturb you or hurt you in any way. We just want to know if you're here. So just give us any sign. I'm heading over to the cemetery. And then there's the graveyard over there. Again, if you want to talk to us, we have all these people who are welcoming you to come talk to them, or to show yourself in any type of way on this camera right here. I'm going back to the graveyard. If you want to come say hello, I will be over there. And you can show yourself in any type of way.
Nicer breeze over here.
Yeah, so the breeze better.
If you would like to talk to us, you can show yourself in any type of way.
Get the camera back.
I mean, he's got the 30.
So, any craziness going on with the gear that I need to know about before we kind of get into
I
why
have
we're here?
withdrawal.
And then we have We have below over there.
And below, yeah. As we were walking out of the alley below, and then withdrawal.
It's really light tonight. I hate to say it because, but it is. It's very light.
Okay.
So did you guys notice that there's a bunch of tours like over on that corner by St. Philip's?
Yeah.
I let them have that as their finale. So there's a reason why we're over here. So Ken, can you mute that just so, until we get through the history of this location? And it's going to be an open forum. This is our last stop, so everybody knows. But I'd like to at least tell you what they're doing over there. They actually have a show and tell, and let them have it, because obviously your show and tell is you get to walk around the city with crazy gear looking like Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
So there's two different sides to the cemetery. So that side of the cemetery where they're all looking is for native Charlestonians only. So Charles Pinckney, the husband, and the nephew are buried across the street. This side behind me is for everybody else.
Yes.
That's where your 7th vice president is buried, John Calhoun. So he's buried right on the other side of this wall. They actually shuffled his ass back and forth trying to figure out where he was supposed to go. Turns out he's not from here. He just lived here for a very long time. So, but those tours are across the street because they're looking at a picture. There's a sign right inside the gate of the cemetery. It says, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." There's a reason for it. 1888, a young lady dies by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Her initials show up here often, and as campy and cheesy as it is, Sue Howard Hardy.
Yes.
Before we had the Ouija board. I get a lot of teenagers that use that red spirit box, and they don't want to pay attention to me because history is boring, so they'll be like, somebody just shushed me on the radio. I'm like, yeah, that's because Sue Howard Hardy told you to pay attention.
Yes.
Like, so, but anyway, she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Very sad story, but 1987, local photographers taking pictures, he captures a full apparition. It's 1987. He doesn't have the tech that we have now to run it through Photoshop and see what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
He sends it to Kodak. I don't think I have to explain what Kodak is to this group. Maybe Chase. So he's like, yeah, I'm good. But with that, Kodak doesn't know what to do with the photograph either. So for guys like me, it's gold. However, females, it's cursed to you. Anybody handling it, even in the digital format, like actually holding it on the phone or a tablet, said to have the same symptoms we talked about at the beginning: headache, nausea, dizziness. Pregnant females, probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story of the stillborn child. I'm not going to be the guy where there was a great honeymoon in Charleston and 9 months later I cursed the family.
Right.
So the only thing I ask is I am going to show you the photograph and zoom in on the apparition so you can see it clearly, but don't touch the damn tablet. I don't want anybody getting sick on account of me. Again, I take this very seriously, as I'm sure you guys have picked up on that by now. You've been with me for a few hours. So, wow, you guys got really quiet all of a sudden. Whenever I start talking dark stuff, you guys get all like, oh, bring it.
Yeah, we're all right. We got
Show
it.
us the good
So maybe
stuff.
I'm reading you guys differently. He's like, yeah. Let me see who's going to get cursed. All right, so I'll go 2 by 2. I'll start over here. So this is the full photograph.
Where do I tell her so I can get people?
Interesting.
A woman praying over her grave, that's hers. Don't forget the
I
baby
saw
basket
something.
that's next to
I
it.
didn't see it.
This is another instance where the baby is probably buried with mom. Again, I've looked for this child's birth records. Nothing. Apparition is here, looking at a woman praying over her own grave with the baby basket to her right.
Wow.
Even when you like zoom in further on a computer on the baby basket, you can see the weaving of the basket. Like, it's crazy. This is the full photo that he took.
Okay.
Right.
That's your apparition.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that baby basket, clear as a bell. Like, you can't mistake it.
Yes.
And again, this thing is like,
You didn't say any
it's
curse
a
words.
very well-known photograph in my field. So again, just the fact that we even have one here this clear is pretty cool stuff. So that's why they're all across the street. Why are we here? We're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there.
Oh, yeah.
That
We
is
heard about that
nothing.
one. Yes.
The
So,
horse-drawn
here's
carriage.
why we're here. First off, those are not crosses. If you're not familiar with what some of our geography and architecture here, basically those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts are basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, by the way, not in that magnitude, you can turn those turnbuckles, and it's supposed to like keep the building standing up to resist any damage that it undertook. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring them up, those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. So again, reason being is because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina, finished in 1713. Now, we're here because this building is a familiar. Think of trying to use a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same principle. We don't have many buildings this old. This building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming to Charleston to start her new life. So we're going to start in the middle of that story. Here's how this one goes. First off, that building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. 1708. Follow me, there's some twists. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? The three of them are running away from his angry wife. How mad was she? They left her damn country. They land in Georgetown, just north of here. You guys actually passed through on your way down from Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly, so she's dead and gone. That means he has to send young Anne down here to Charleston to sell anything from the plantation, kind of keep things afloat. Young Anne back home in Ireland, kind of a badass. They say she killed one of her servants when she was just a young lady, like under 10 years old, with a knife to the belly. So again, kind of a hardcore chick. I just like to have that mentality of her in the back of all of your brains as we continue. Fast forward. Building is done in 1713. What letters you got coming up there? You got a lot going on.
I got a Q, G, K, S, I, H, E.
Ooh. You almost had skin.
Actually, yeah.
I guess that's what a master's in English will get you. Scramble letters in your brain. But anyway, so 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love pretty quickly because she wants her freedom like a man. Guy number one. Yes, we're going to keep tally. There's a handful. Guy number one is James Bonney. We already mentioned her name. You see where this one's going. Dad didn't approve. Filthy pirate. They go to Jamaica. They elope. Obviously, we have Anne Bonny at this point. Anne Cormac to Anne Bonny. This guy, however, is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward. It's not who she wants. She falls in love a few years later. Again, guy number two, John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the Captain Jack Sparrow that they based the character off of. So his name really wasn't Captain Jack Sparrow. His name was Calico Jack. So he has his own ship and wants to be part of it. Can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
Bad omen.
Right, bad luck. So
Hey, Dad.
he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you'll be part of the pirate crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. She knows it's a man's world. She's good with it. Now she's a pirate. Let's put two and two together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl.
Yeah.
So Jack drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby. It's a cricket. I see you kind of looking like, what's that noise?
No.
You had something in your ear?
96. I don't know. It was like no static or anything.
Just 96.
It's 96.
Crazy 96. Okay. Might be relative to that Henry. I'll have to look into it. But anyway, where was I? Oh, so he tells her go have the baby, come back later. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. I've dug and dug and dug. No research will tell me. But she comes back dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. And while she was away giving birth to his child, he captured another pirate crew down below deck. She's going to go flirting to make him even more mad, because that's what Anne does. Guy number three. Guy number three turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. And her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers, we're never going to know for sure, but the British find out where they are, and they send an entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their one-bullet flintlocks, probably because they don't know how to use the cannons yet. They haven't been pirates long enough. So two ladies are not going to take on a fleet of ships. So as they're being arrested, obviously, by the British, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack. She says, you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog. The word dog shows up here all the time, by the way. The judge, his name was Nick as well. So if you guys hear my name, it's usually him, not me. He wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly, after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. Anne and Mary go in front of Judge Nick, and they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. He doesn't care. They're still female. Or they're still pirates. So, yeah, he just doesn't care. So we plead our bellies was the last thing they screamed out. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. So they pled their bellies. And he said, fine, we'll delay your hanging. He sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in the Charlestown area with all of his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending.
Good gosh.
Mary Reed died a year later, 1721, from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Most books and resources will tell you fever. I'm going to call scurvy. So put that in the back of your brain. It's pretty nasty and gross. Here's the thing. You guys have been working with me long enough now. You know what to do with your devices. I only left out 2 questions so that you can pick and choose, ask whatever the hell you want to, but the 2 things we can actually solidly prove. The name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and his mistress. The name of Calico Jack's ship. I left that out as well on purpose. So, those of you with cameras, you can explore. You can go to the front of the Powder magazine. I don't hear any other tours out here, so again, the only thing I ask is don't interrupt the other tours. You guys can go over and check out the Sue Howard Hardy sign over there if you'd like to. I am going to keep you for one more moment, just because I like to kind of explain further about that heated warning I gave you at the beginning. A year ago, last September, I brought my group back here, full group of 10. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost. Like, it's a nice cool night. It wasn't humid like it is now. He starts to drop. I have to pick him up by his armpit to keep him from hitting his head on the ground. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him, and we get him over to the wall, bottle of water, feeling better. I then tell my group the entire story I just told you. After I spread everybody out with their devices to have fun on their last stop, they pull me aside and say, we are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary in the story. Just keep in mind that people will be passing through, so you do not have cameras when they're passing by. Basically, turn it the other way.
This is not a name. Fighting Blood.
That makes me so happy.
That's a good one?
That's a great one.
Well, I got Kill.
Oh,
Oh, that's, yeah, we're all over this. Good job, everybody.
wow.
It's about time. Good, good, good. Whew, finally. There are nights, guys, where nothing, like, is very minimal. Like, we get 1 or 2 little tiny clues, but, like, fighting blood, kill, like, I'm going to take them. That's good stuff. Alright, so, welcome to Philadelphia Alley. This is a weird space, again, it's kind of a staple. Every ghost tour comes down here. I'm going to tell you this story a little bit differently, only because you're ghost hunting. You guys need different details. I would pay special attention to your Ouija board device, just because it does like to give us little subtle clues in this location. So if you want to get a fresh reset on that, I won't mind at all, so we get a kind of a fresh look. So, Philadelphia Alley. This used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. Now, we all tell the story of one duel. Here's how this one goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with this money. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's cash, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd comes to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her money. So as he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen of the doctor being killed, and his name is Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Even before we had the little Ouija board, the letters RI would show up here all the time in different formats. So again, it was very eerie. Now that we have the Ouija board, I'm hoping we're going to start getting those a little bit more often. So we just need the secondary clue, because that's 2 clues to 2 different characters. Now, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. I know him. Let me get you over to some friends of mine at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them, and you'll be good to go. Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer. They're not friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making, proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money, which means Amanda's moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. I can guarantee it. I would put my paycheck on it. However, there is proof of this one. We're going to get to that. Him and the doctor go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because Dr. Ladd makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He has better seats. They talk about the plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night. They start arguing over the actress that was new in town. Dr. Ladd thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing until Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. Yeah, it gets pretty ugly. They go their separate ways. Ralph, being having a lot of friends here, he goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Dr. Ladd sees the newspaper ad. By the way, it was kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality, hurting his practice. So he sees it and says, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this once and for all. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to his fight. That's often what happened at a duel, by the way, if you're not familiar with that. Ralph has his 1 bullet still. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd drops to the ground. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember he's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed this out himself. So, the campfire ghost story part of this is that as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. If you're going to try this on your own without me, your tour guide, because again, I'm going to tell you how I got booted out of the other side here in just a moment. Remember that every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street from the other side throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. We end over there, my car's over there, which means I have to pass the alley. If my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. Just kind of a little fun game we do after every night. So, But they also say you can hear gunshots down here, which I call BS. So now I used to take my folks all the way down, and this was before we were using earbuds or spirit boxes. It was like, turn those down. It's a matter of listening to your voice recorder to see if you're going to get a whistle. Everybody wants to like try to get a reading down at the other end. Here's why. This alley didn't always go all the way through to Cumberland Street over here. It was cut off. So this was known as Cow Alley, but this was also, like, those bricks down there are older because those bricks weren't there, obviously. Those ones are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there and fingerprint swipes. And I'd always point them out because I'm sure you guys picked up I'm all about the history, right? So it's a matter of everybody's got to see this to show how far we've come. Everybody wants to try to get a reading out of those damn bricks. That kid's not staring at the brick in the afterlife. It's guaranteed. So, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 wanted to huddle around one brick and try to get a reading. I'm trying to shoo them along, and it's outside the dining room window of a beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. It is residential at the end, and I was in the wrong. I was not supposed to be there. New guy on the block. I played my new guy card. The guy came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a token. I worked in retail management for over 20 years, many of those years being for Walmart. I'm sure you understand why I took Thanksgiving off, and still do to this day. However, November 28th, that Friday, I have another full tour coming up, but I get a phone call that morning from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group. I didn't feel like it was fair for my groups of 10 to work around groups of 20 to 60 people down here. We're kind of fair game tonight, but I told my team, I don't even believe the story we're about to talk about. Like, we're going to go talk about pirates. I'm going to tell you what I know. We're going to wing it and see what happens. That was a long time ago. Tickets were much cheaper, by the way. I cannot wing it anymore. But I'm a vampire guy, not a pirates person. Somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box before we leave. I told them we're going to be discussing pirates, not which one. We are going to be discussing Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. When we get up there, I told a little bit I did know about piracy. Somebody else hears the number 300. I have no idea what this means until I'm doing the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So, I keep taking you guys back there. I'm a vampire guy, like I said. I've read more damn books on pirates than I ever cared to in my entire lifetime, trying to piece together a factual story so that we can actually investigate. It is a hit or miss location. Now, the Pinckney Mansion site is usually a hotbed, and we didn't capture much there. So I have no idea what's going to happen up there tonight. But worst case scenario, you're going to learn a lot of weird stuff about pirates, because again, it's kind of a whopper of a story. Anything on your devices before we leave this space? What do we got going on?
I have Brayden, B-R-A-Y-D-E-N,
Okay.
Evolution, and Improve.
I still like Fight to Kill and all the crazy stuff you guys gave me.
I have MDOO.
You have MD.
Doctor?
We had RX show up here the other night.
Okay.
So I was not expecting MD. So again, we'll take that one for certain. I'm thinking about covers. Ken, you've been on mute pretty much most of the time.
Yeah, I want to hear what you're saying.
I definitely like MD here. Like, that's a good one. Not that that may have been a term during that time, but again, it's not like the doctor hasn't been here for a few hundred years listening on what's happening. So again, we'll kind of see what's going on with that one. Like, that's a weird one. I'm going to definitely look in to see when that was coined, because the doctor died in 1786. So again, that was a very, very long time ago. I don't know if MD would have been a thing. So we'll kind of see what's going on. Sorry,
no number.
Yeah, you're. Now, I did get a crazy spike in here last week, and last week it was 18.7. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. I've been coming down here for years. And normally, guys, I normally tell the story over there at the White Building as you all look down here and watch the other tours come down. So, oh, by the way, kind of fortunate thing here. This gate behind me, there's a reason why it's here, and it's relative to dueling. Oh, by the way, it was the doctor that was the poet. All of his works were published by his sister Elizabeth after his death.
Awesome.
So they're actually available today. But the gate. This is for when there was a loser to a duel. So remember, the alley didn't go all the way through, right? This was a shortcut to get to the cemetery. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to Queen Street and back around to get to the cemetery, basically right over there. So this gate has this doorway has a gate on it now. So there's obviously, you can't cut through it because it belongs to St. Philip's, not Philadelphia Alley. Right. So again, laws have changed over time, obviously. But this gate, I want to say, has probably been here since late 1890s, early 1910s, roughly. Just looking at the ironwork from it. So, but yeah, that's the reason why that gate's there. And not many people actually know why the doorway's even there. Because again, if you do your history, it didn't even come down as far. This was probably the end of it, to be quite honest with you. So this was probably like right at the end of the alley. So
I have Henry.
Henry's good. We're gonna talk about Henry.
Okay.
I like Henry.
I like Henry too.
Slipping his way into my course. He wanted somebody to bring up. He shows himself.
So we don't pull it out of our ears.
Chaser away, or chase away, or that shit.
Let me turn off the camera now.
So?
I'm turning off the camera now.
Okay.
And this alley can pick up on cold signatures and orbs in this location. But the original Charlestown Wall used to run up Cumberland, right where we crossed down coming down East Bay Street, which means you're standing inside the original city, and you're standing on one of the very first streets we ever had. So I have the full list of residents of all the people that ever lived here. It's not a very lengthy list, but you guys always give me the same two names over and over again. It's not Stephen. However, I do think that there is a Stephen on the list. I'm going to double cross-reference it just to make sure. But again, especially with the Q that showed up out of the other one, I want to say, like, I know that there's a Quiggin that lived down here, but I can't remember if it was a David or a Stephen. So I'm going to look into that just to kind of verify what's going on with it. But you guys always give me, we're going to part ways so that you can actually pass through. Come on through, we'll get out of your way. You guys give me the same two names of Benjamin and John. Now, I did not say Benjamin at any point in time tonight, and lo and behold, every 6 to 7 weeks, you guys always give me those same two names over and over and over again. I don't have anything extensive about Benjamin and John other than John's last name that will show up along with his first name. There were 4 different Johns that lived here in a 60-year time frame, so it's very hard to discern which one it is without a last name. The last name of Johnson will always show up, and yes, his mother was evil and named him John Johnson. So we do get all 3 of those names in the same night, and that usually happens every 6 to 7 weeks. Right now, we're in week 4 of that loop. So today is Sunday, I kind of reset it. So it's kind of like week 3, 4. Again, I never can pinpoint exactly what night it's going to happen. But Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. That's the only thing I got. 2 out of 5 people that lived here, and I get their same 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks. The only explanation I have for that is the bricks you're standing on. These bricks are made, well, they're called Belgian blocks, first off. They've been here since 1739 that we know of. So, how you doing, sweetheart? So even the historians don't even know exactly how long these bricks have been here, but they're made of granite, and granite is not supposed to have an electrical charge. So I'm going to have you pick any dry brick and literally put your device on the ground, and let me know if you get anything above that 1.1 to 2.5. Again, this is not, I'm not really expecting anything, but I'm still testing it night after night for conditions. So basically, in a nutshell, I've seen it go up to like 5, 6, even as high as 15 in this location as we get closer to that 6 to 7 week period. So nothing coming out of it? Oh, no, that's the next stop, honey. Sometimes it actually bleeds over, so let me explain that. That's actually a good thing. This is why I love when I don't explain everything. From Pink Dimension site, we may have gotten some bleed over from Big John's, because we were still only 1 block away. So where we're going next is another alley, and I don't even normally bring up the fact that he was a poet, the person we're going to be discussing, until something pops up around his poetry. So again, it's not important for the story. Are you recording? Yeah, it looks like it. So again, that's actually relative to the next one. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. We will get terms relative to the Freemasons. So symbols, Mason, Freemason, brick. The word Illuminati loves to show up on that red spirit box. You guys normally will get it as we're entering the alley. First off, they're listening to radio stations. Who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? Like, that's my first question. The second piece of that is, why are we only getting it in this space? See what's there.
No.
Sorry.
I was on your tour not long ago. It's
I was going to
great.
say, you look familiar.
Fucking great.
Oh,
sorry. You're fine.
It's okay, you know you're being recorded. So again, the Illuminati piece, like, it's a very odd thing to hear here, and I did capture it 6 times last year, 3 times this year so far, and I verified every one of them because you guys all claim to hear it, but I have to find it for myself. Again, you guys didn't claim to hear it tonight, so we're going to see what happens when I'm going through the audio and in the morning when I'm going through it. Now, we're going to be exiting this alley, and as we do to get to the next one, we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. So you guys will kind of stop your video as we exit, because again, we don't want to record houses when we're going through that one. Now, the other alley, I can't take you all the way through like this one because I've been kicked out of it. We are going to go on the one side of it where technically we're allowed to go. It's a Sunday night, so we're not going to be too overcrowded with other tours. It is a staple from other tours, and yes, I will tell you how I got kicked out of there because that's the fun part of the story. So, with that said, any other crazy questions about the stone tape theory? Because basically the bricks are hanging on to the memories of the things that occurred here. So it's like we're watching a loop, a movie loop. So that's why those names keep showing up here. Again, it's a weird kind of thing. Do you have something else about that?
All I have for you: sober, aggression, and act.
I could almost say that all three of those are relative to the next story again.
Okay.
Like damn close.
All right.
She's like, yeah,
They're
let's go to the
coming
next
for me.
story.
They're coming.
All right,
they're
let's head up to
anxious.
the next
They're gonna
stop.
talk over there.
Oh, I'll take it. We have something to talk about.
Oh, I got Maggot.
Ooh.
Oh, Maggot.
Okay, this is just missed. Oh.
Writing in the dark. Oh my brother.
Umbrella down.
Umbrella, not your stuff.
I tied mine to my belt loop.
Oh wait, that's smart. Have you met Nick before? If so, make an orb fly by, or just any sign.
Alright, Janice, how's yours going?
If you know anything about mansion, make an orb goodbye, or just any sign.
How's that going?
It's going pretty good. At one point, I asked if like there was a spirit near us.
Okay.
I asked to show me a sign, like have an orb fly by or something. And the whole time, like it could have been a dust particle, but the whole time a dust particle has not went by. And right after I asked that question, it goes and out of the camera,
Did it come from inside the camera, or was it edge to edge?
under the camera and back
Okay.
under.
And it may have been an insect,
Yeah.
because we do get a lot of insects. They light up really bright
Mhm.
for some odd reason with that camera. So again, I'll take a look at it when I'm reviewing it
Uh-huh.
and kind of see what's going from there.
Yeah, and then there's all these reflections, so it has these like shining lights
Yeah.
in between, so I have to distinct whether or not that's it.
Now, if it's moving with the camera, obviously.
Yeah.
And the old lighting system that I had on here, like
Mhm.
it had a ton of like little bulbous little things that were
Mhm.
too hard to determine. That's why I upgraded to this, the torch.
Yeah.
So the LEDs work way better, and I'm
Mhm.
even going to add a secondary one so that way they crisscross this way.
Yeah.
So that way it'll kind of take out that one in the middle,
Mhm.
so that you keep seeing from the right going to the left.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks like a little diamond.
Yeah. Like in the camera, you'll see me like doing this a lot, and I'll
Right.
just be distincting.
You're
it.
testing. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's good. That's what I expect.
Okay. If there is anybody with us here and you want to talk, show us a sign. Mother, you scared me. On the camera, it's dark over there, and you were walking towards the camera, and I'm like, what is that? But then it was you. If there's anybody here who does not want to talk, show us any sign of any kind. Again, if there's anyone who wants to make themselves known in any sort of way, just show us a sign. Again, we are not here to hurt you in any way. We just want to know if there's anyone out there who is here to talk. Show us any sign of any kind, and I'll take it. Okay.
You know, kill about 10 to 15 minutes, and we know that they're going to be calibrated. Hit your circle. There you go. And and then you got yours going. Perfect.
Can this be louder?
Yeah, your volume is at the top.
That's what got me in trouble the first time.
So it's not the button. It's not this guy. It's next to it over here.
There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do our cell phones impact the equipment?
They can if it's an EMF detector, and if it's only touching it. So
Too loud?
again, your cell phone being on, most people are like, do I have to shut my stuff off? I'm like, no, there are emergencies in the world. Like, you guys need to answer those phones if something happens. So, but yes, I appreciate that, thinking out of that. So, welcome to, well, I guess first off, all you communication device people, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, right? So like what we did over there with the Red Barn.
Yep.
You're going to be using your spirit boxes and communication devices to get your answers. So where the heck are we? We're at the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with basically where we just came in, all the way across the Five Church Restaurant, and the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space. So I always like to give you the layout of the land, if I can, before I actually get started with what actually goes on here. So who the heck were Eliza and Charles Pinckney? They had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. Do you guys see why we look for those secondary clues now?
Yep.
Which Chuck are we chatting with kind of mentality. So, with that said, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Like, that's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here, including Chase. So he doesn't know it yet. He's like, oh, wow, he used my name, cool. So, with that said, let's kind of get into Eliza. She has a much cooler story. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. If we're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14, like colonial times. Think of today's standards. The reason I bring that up is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age when they married. So it was kind of a creepy age gap back then, definitely a creepy age gap now. So kind of keep that in the back of your brains for those of you listening. Now, she married him because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. That's where Eliza's from. She didn't think he was dying. She wanted to stay put. It's 1744. She gets married. And you don't get married in 1744 for a green card. We're not even a country yet. And she was correct. Her father did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to this space, right where we're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least 45 minutes to an hour that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere along the way. Indigo is a plant that makes blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. So some of you are actually wearing it tonight because that's how we use it. But when Eliza got it, she had no idea what to do with it. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here. So when she figured it out, she moved it to another plantation, called her father, and said, rice plantations are going downhill. We can now make a killing with this indigo. And we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So that's her business. That's the boring stuff, because Holly's falling asleep over there staring at numbers. So let's get into the weird stuff. So I'm going to kind of go through different kinds of questions based on your communication device. So Ken, I'm going to start with yours.
Yep.
Now, with yours, I want you to focus on what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here. If you get an answer, when did that happen? We're obviously looking for a very specific date. At times, we will get the month, day, and year along with whatever tragedy that was that took out the mansion. So because yours only gives us like 1 to 2 syllable words, I'm keeping things nice and simple for you.
Okay.
As far as yours goes, Eliza that we just spoke of is the second wife named Eliza. Yeah, the first wife died in May or January of 1744. He married the one we spoke of in May, 5 months later.
Nice.
So again, kind of a weird gap. Both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Figure out which one we're working with and go after maybe the marriage question, like how old they were. See if you can get some numbers out of that guy. Yours is going to be totally separate. The two of you back there. So Victor, as far as your like Ouija board device, I want you to kind of keep an eye on it. I don't have necessarily a set of questions for it yet because it hasn't given me a ton of data yet for me to be able to determine like what normally comes out of it.
I got
But as far as the rest, like what you're listening for, Eliza's death. Anything you want to ask. How old she was, where she died, what she died from, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So there are other things that I'm kind of withholding because obviously we're not using all of my communication devices tonight, but those would be like things about the kids and how many she had, what their names were, all of these little tiny details that I'm going to leave out because I'm giving you the questions that we commonly hear. So we are going to spread out in this space, but we're not going to be going in between vehicles or there's obviously somebody was in that vehicle over there. I seen him like toss a cup of ice out, so just kind of be wary of that. Filmmakers over here. But again, nice slow movements out of the two cameras, but I'm going to keep Holly behind so that I can show her more about that device on how to use the REM pod, the motion sensor part of it. But I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you, seeing what's going on with your devices and writing down notes as I'm chit-chatting with all of you so we can kind of see what's actually happening. And yes, I will reveal all of these crazy answers before we leave the space. So you are free to go as far as unmuting. That would be the button all the way to on the right-hand side, right here. Yep, it's the only button. Keep going down a little bit.
I feel it.
There you go. All right. So have some fun, guys. I'll be with everybody in just a minute, except for Holly. I'm keeping her behind. So nice slow movements out of you guys. You guys got this. Mike's a pro. I need to learn some jobs. All right. So.
That's just a glare.
Okay, triple digits. Okay.
I have seizures. Like, I can't be around that kind of thing.
Okay.
I bought that one in space.
Okay.
So, you get to know 100 plus.
What do you know? Yeah,
Please.
okay, okay.
All right, look at you. You're like all over it. Love it.
keep seeing a glare. I'm trying to figure out what this is. What's this? Where's it coming from? Because it's obviously a glare. Oh, it's the car over there. It's here. Make an orb go by. Mother.
Show me blue.
So, I'm watching the camera and I ask if someone's here, make an orb go by. And if an orb goes like that, it may have not been an orb, it could have been a dust particle, but I haven't seen one dust particle the whole time.
You can tell him that way.
Yeah.
Let's get into spirit boxes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, here we go.